All right, motherfuckers, are you ready? I gotta improve that. Today we're talking about my biggest mistake in making content and what you can learn from it. I'm just gonna go right out there and say it. My biggest mistake is being very inconsistent, not just with when I put out things, but also with my branding and my subject matter. I first started out, I wrote a blog article. It was a night I went to hook up with somebody. Very unsatisfying sex. This was in college, and I was on my way home, and I decided to get a breakfast sandwich because it was early in the morning at that point. And I went to the diner and had my laptop with me because I brought it for some reason, and I started writing. I started writing about, I don't even remember what I started writing about. I don't think I have that article anymore, but I might somewhere. And I published it on a free WordPress site. And the WordPress site was called Chocolate Chip Cookie Joe at the time. Actually, I don't think it had a name. I think later that year, I bought chocolatechipcookiejoe.com, which I don't have anymore, so you can buy it now, presumably, if nobody else has bought it. And I just started writing about life, and I found it natural to start writing like philosophy, like self-help, life advice articles. And I would write about like how important it is to be focused, how important it is to follow your passions. And I just loved doing it. But I would do it like super inconsistently. I was just kind of like when I wanted to. And then I changed from Chocolate Chip Cookie Joe to Project Unchained. The whole idea was I was starting to get really motivated about becoming free and being my own man and like doing my own thing. And so I changed the name to Project Unchained, and I started writing articles. And I actually got known on campus for this. I was doing some consistent advertising. I was putting my links on other people's blogs. I was making YouTube videos every now and then. It was still mostly articles, but I was sharing it with people. I was telling people I did it a lot. And in the end, some people on campus would recognize, oh, that's the guy with the blog, and they'd like want to take a photo with me, and it was really validating. And then I started traveling, and then Project Unchained would follow my travels. Then I started working with this guy named Frank Sasso, who was the lead animator of Chester the Cheetah from the Cheetos bags and the Cheetos cartoons, and he's also the lead animator for, I think, Stimpy from Ren and Stimpy in the 80s. Real interesting guy. I had a podcast with him. I had him on my podcast when I had a podcast. But that's another thing. Like so his thing was he helped me with a brand in exchange for me making 3D printing a figurine for a pitch meeting for one of his projects. He had his cartoon project. I'm not in the cartoon world. Maybe it's become real at this point, or maybe it never got funding. I'm not sure. But he's got a lot of stuff going on. And he made a brand for me, which was the Spot of Joe. If you remember the Spot of Joe, if anyone of you are around from the Spot of Joe days, I actually have a mug with his logo that he made. He made a caricature of me, one of his logos. He made two logos. One of them was a caricature of me that was drawn by him, and it's a really good caricature. I colorized it. I changed it up a little bit. I added some colors here and there, and I changed the font and the lettering, but the caricature was drawn by him. And the idea of, he actually called it a Spot of Joe. So actually, at first I called it a Spot of Joe. And then I changed it to the Spot of Joe because then it's a different feel. It's like, oh, here's a Spot of Joe. Or like, here's the Spot of Joe. And so I changed it to the Spot of Joe. Now let's do a tally for how many names we had. We had so far. We had Chocolate Chip Cookie Joe. We had Project Unchained. We had a Spot of Joe, and we had the Spot of Joe. And so I was doing all that for a while. And then I became disenchanted with the name The Spot of Joe. I changed it back to Passion Unchained. And then at one point I was like, let me go back to the drawing board. Back to Project Unchained. Project Unchained, I don't know, it kind of makes me feel like there's something I have to unchain myself from, which makes me feel I'm all chained. Like, let me go back to the drawing board. What do I want to do? I want to teach people to follow their passions and learn a lot of things and not stay stuck with one thing. Maybe go deep into certain subjects, but have a life with variety and excitement. Well, what has that? Well, the idea of the Renaissance Man. So I called it the Renaissance Man Network. And so it's another name change. And so the Renaissance Man Network was the new thing. And then I went back to Project Unchained, and then I decided for some reason Passion Unchained came to mind. I don't remember why, but at this point I was making podcasts. I was recording interviews in my own podcasts, and some YouTube videos and some articles, and I changed it to Passion Unchained for some reason, and I think then I changed it back to Project Unchained and then back to Passion Unchained. So I had 10 name changes, something like that. All over the place. Now, if all the content that I'd created was all under one roof, the guy in college that wanted to take a photo with me would still be following me and would still be excited about my content, and there would be 100 of them, at least 100, because I've been doing it for years. But I made a huge mistake, and that is I put way too much weight in the name of what it was rather than the content at first. Now I've been changing, but I put so much effort into the name of the content, into the face of the content, into how well it looked from the outside, and I put not nearly enough effort into how good the content actually was. Was it from my heart? Did it feel like I was actually sharing what I believed? Did I feel like I was sharing when I was helpful? Did I take the time to figure out what people wanted to hear? Did I take the time to figure out to up the quality of my content? I didn't do any of that. I was trying to make it look nice and like be well designed and have the best name, which is only a very small part of it. The name can't be shitty. It's like the bio on online dating. Like, it can't be shitty, but if it's the best bio, it's not going to make up for shit photos. It's just like, if it's the best, the name can't be like Shit Talker Studios. Unless I'm not a comedian that's shit talking, I'm trying to help you with life. I can't call it Shit Talker Studios, but the best name won't make up for crappy content. It's not going to work. I have to focus on the content. So at one point, I just decided that when I ended up on Passion Unchained, I decided at one point that I'm not going to change the name again. It's going to stay at Passion Unchained. It's going to stay at Passion Unchained no matter what I feel. And there are days where I'm like, this doesn't really fit what I'm doing. For the most part, most days I like the name. I like Passion Unchained, but it's a lot more important to be consistent. Consistency. That's a very simple way to say what I fucked up on at first was I was not consistent. Especially with branding. If you're an online creator, you change your name and all your followers are like, who the fuck is this guy now? And you lose all the loyalty and all the followership that you've been building. So I learned my lesson the hard way. I think in a way I was self-sabotaging. I was too nervous. I was like, I don't deserve any of this followership. And I have some people that comment on my videos now. I have some people that like what I do, and that, every time I see them, if they're here in Austin, because I have viewers from everywhere. If they're here in Austin, they're like, yo, like I really like that video you put out, and I love that you're putting out a video a day, which will only exist through the end of this year, by the way. It's going to be a 365 project, but I decided just to make it to the end of the year, so it's going to end up being a 417-day project. But yeah, just be consistent, guys. Don't fuck up your vibe and your growth by changing things up too much. There's an amazing book actually right here. I actually did not prepare this. I just have it right there, called The Slight Edge. And there's another book called The Compound Effect, which is a similar idea. And specifically a chapter in this book called The 1% Rule is very similar to the whole book of The Compound Effect. But this is an amazing book, Slight Edge. I'll put a link in the description below to an Amazon affiliate link where you can buy this, where I get a little cut and you get same price as before. But it's an amazing book that talks to you about how important it is to be consistent, even if it's small movements. And that's how I live life. It's a concept that I actually got before I read any self-help books, just naturally. Like when I was fat, like I talked about in the last video and several other videos, and I was fat and unhealthy and not having a good life, I ran a little bit each day. And actually, for the first part, I didn't even run. I just said for a week, I have to wake up and then go. The first thing I had to do was go outside and lock the door. And as long as I went outside and locked the door, I did my job and I could go back in and go to sleep. And then the next week, I had to go outside, lock the door, and walk down the block and back. Or I didn't have to walk back, but I had to walk down the block. And as long as I did that, I was fine. And I just baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, baby steps, until like I ran a half marathon a couple years ago. And I got thin, I got like lean, I got healthy, and it was just little bit by little bit by little bit, building upon those steps. You have to be, there's a really great quote by a guy that some people hate, some people love, but he's very smart and he has a lot of good shit to say. And he says, most people are patient to start, but impatient to finish. You have to be impatient to start, but patient to finish. And that's another way to say the same thing, and that's a really concise way. And I like that. You have to be impatient to start and patient to finish. And unfortunately, when it came to Passion Unchained, what is now and will always be Passion Unchained, I was impatient to finish, and I was impatient to start, but I was also impatient to finish because I expected the name change to fix everything, and the moment I had the perfect name, everyone would just come flooding in and give me money and subscribe to all my shit, which is not how it works. You have to continually put out good content that reaches people and that is entertaining and that people want to hear, and you have to be vulnerable so people connect to you and they trust you and they like you, and you have to be honest, you have to have integrity, you have to show your flaws, and that way you guys will like me. And if you don't like me, then that's fine, but you probably wouldn't watch till 12 and a half minutes in if you didn't like me. So I'm assuming everyone at this point likes me, in which case I'm grateful. So be consistent, read The Slight Edge if you want. I would suggest it. It's a great book. And don't keep changing your name if you are doing content creation. By the way, if you are doing content creation, all the equipment that I use is in the description below in Amazon affiliate links. Same price for you. I get a cut. Helps me do this a lot more. The lens, the lights, my backup drive, my microphone, my shock mount, my microphone mount, the tripods I use, fucking, and my camera, the cards. I think I don't have the cards, but I have the backup drive I use. Fucking everything is in the description below in the Amazon affiliate link. So if you are doing content creation, go ahead and click those links if you want to upgrade your materials, your gear, if you will. And what else? Do I have anything else? I don't think I have anything else to tell you guys. So bye.